Well, Pete, we sat here last week and called the West Ham and Wolves match El Sacchio. Nobody's been sacked quite yet, but Julian Lopetegui did come out on the right side of that. How much longer does he have before the next do-or-die match at West Ham, or has this bought him lots of time? It feels like we keep getting to these moments where it's...
this weekend.
Yeah, right? Like, we keep getting to these moments where it's like he's going to get sacked if he doesn't win. He wins, then 2 weeks go by. How much longer does he really get? Is it more about how the football is played?
They've got a tough game this weekend off from memory. Are they Bournemouth?
Away to Bournemouth on Monday night.
Yeah, they've got a tough game this weekend.
Yeah, again, if he loses that one, his job's on the line, no doubts about that. Basically, I think the win against Wolves was a stay of execution, and I think although they got the win, they had a bit of luck on their side in that one as well. Gary O'Neill wouldn't have been happy with some of the refereeing and VAR decisions in that game, so it could have went the other way. Look, we know West Ham are talking to prospective managers. They have got people lined up ready to come in if they do decide to sack Lopetegui. It's been a real disappointing spell for the Spaniard, no doubt about that. 5 wins from 15 games, especially after the massive outlay that West Ham did in the summer transfer market. It's below expectations. There's no doubt about that, but looking at it, look, he's one defeat away from a crisis again, one defeat away from losing his job.
Don't like sacking, hiring and firing, do they? They don't like paying compensation for a manager.
Yep.
2, they don't like sacking managers and paying them up. You look at the recent history, if they sack Lopetegui now, that's going to be an expensive mistake, isn't it?
Oh, massively, and I think that's one of the key reasons why he's still in his job. It could have happened a lot earlier, Lopetegui getting the sack, but yeah, David Sullivan wants to keep faith with him as much as possible because he was David Sullivan's choice to go in there and replace David Moyes, so he doesn't want to have egg in his face and have to sack a manager midway through the season, and he put a lot of faith in Lopetegui, so he's still giving him his backing for now. But I think once you lose the fans, and he has lost the fans when they were losing to Leicester. I know you were at that game, Paul. They did play well and were unlucky to lose, but when the fans start saying you're getting sacked in the morning, I don't think there's anywhere real way back after that.
The thing for West Ham is I think they can see the investment in the players. The money's been there to sign the players, and I think probably a guesstimate 70%, 80% wanted to change a manager. They wanted a different style, so they got to what they did under David Moyes and where they finished last year. And I think the big comparison that they make, they look at Aston Villa and you look at Unai Emery. You look at a manager like that coming in, you look at the money that they've spent, and in the short time that Unai Emery's come in, they look like they're going to progress in the Champions League. They've got a fantastic squad of players and they're competing in the top echelons of the Premier League. And that's, I think, where West Ham fans expected or wanted to be. And it's just not worked under Lopetegui so far.
And Pete, is Graham Potter still being lined up as the top replacement? Is he waiting in the wings, or is there some worry for West Ham should this go on another couple of weeks that Graham Potter could take a different job? It could be Wolves.
Why hasn't he taken a job, Pete? You'll know more better than us. Why hasn't he taken a job? Does he think he's better than jobs that have been offered to him? Has he been offered jobs? He's been out of the game for a long time now.
Yeah, he has been out of the game for a long time, but he's had a nice severance pay from Chelsea still coming in until recently as well. So he's not been in any rush. He has had offers to come back into management. He probably could have got the Leicester job in the summer before they went with Steve Cooper, but he didn't feel that was right. Again, he probably was amongst their top choices to replace Cooper last month before Ruud van Nistelrooy got it, but again, he wasn't too sure in the job either and whether Leicester's squad was good enough. I think he has been holding out for a big job. There's no doubt the West Ham job is a big job. I think the squad there is pretty good. They've improved it in the summer, and I think with the right manager and if you get things going there at West Ham, as you know, once the fans are on side and everything else, they can be a real tough side to beat, and David Moyes got things going by winning that Conference League as well. So Graham Potter, I think, is waiting and willing to take that West Ham job if it does become available. As I said, West Ham maybe are playing a dangerous game because if other jobs come up in the meantime, I'm sure Graham Potter will be at the top of the list for a lot of clubs because he's got Premier League experience, and the other key thing is he's out of work, so he doesn't cost any compensation. So I think that was the thing that attracts him to West Ham in the first place. No compensation, Premier League experience, and he might even be willing to accept a short-term deal as well.
Listen, if I'm a West Ham fan, I'm not excited by that. Are you? I mean, without giving you allegiance to your clubs or whatever, if your football team were to employ Graham Potter, it wouldn't be one that I'd look at and go, oh, great, this is fantastic, it's going to revolutionise, it's going to change the club. And for West Ham fans, where they are and with what they want, like you say, I think the compensation, what they would have to pay, he's out of work and it's an attractive proposition for them. But for me, it's what's he going to change there? Listen, football fans and in the media, we have short memories. He had an excellent time at Brighton. But Chelsea, it was difficult for him. But you look at him now, and you do question why he's been out of the game for so long.
Yeah,
there's
not a sexy name, but I think obviously from what he did at Brighton, I think he could do a decent job at West Ham if he was given time, because I think the squad is more than workable and should be doing better than they are right now.
And Paul, could you see West Ham kind of adding to that midfield potentially on loan in January with someone like Douglas Luiz, who hasn't really found his footing at Juventus and obviously has a lot of great Premier League experience? The midfield for West Ham has certainly been one that's been kind of lacking in consistency.
No, they've lacked legs. They've lacked legs and they've lacked pace, and they've been run over in too many games. That is an area that they would look to strengthen, and that will be the test in January. That'll be the acid test as to where the manager's stock is with the owners, if you like, what they allow him to do. You look at the money what's been spent, but actually when we talk about that, the manager's not responsible for all the players that come in at West Ham. There's others that are signing players, and I think the manager's been given certain players that he may not necessarily have wanted. But I do agree with you. Excuse me. That is an area that they will look at, and they will try and bring players in, whether it's the players that the manager wants or not. I don't think Douglas Luiz is a bad option. 26, what signed for Juve this year from Villa. I think he's a good player. I think he'll be wanting to play football himself for his international future as well. He'll be wanting to play. So, yeah, it's a good option, and it's certainly an area that's a viable signing for West Ham.